KMT's Cheng defends military policy amid China threat debate. MRT attack hero to be enshrined at Taoyuan Martyrs shrine. Court ruling in student killing sparks outcry over lenient sentences. France's national post office hit by suspected cyber attack. Trump unveils plans for Golden Fleet battleships named after himself. Passenger bus crash in Indonesia kills at least 16 people. Uber and Lyft plans to trial Chinese robotaxis in the UK in 2026. World's first ever 3D printed cornea implant.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It's Wednesday, December 24th, Christmas Eve, and here are your top stories. And for today's Taiwan News, KMT chairwoman郑丽文spoke at Suzhou University on Sunday, responding to criticism over the party's defense stance. Asked about past troop cuts under former President Ma Ying-jeou amid China's military expansion, Chen said the shift to an all-volunteer force did not mean abandoning Taiwan's defense, calling the suggestion illogical. Taoyuan city government said on December 23rd that Yu Jia-cheng, a 57-year-old resident who died after stopping an attacker during a December 19th incident near Taipei Main Station, will be posthumously enshrined at the Taoyuan Martyrs shrine. The enshrinement ceremony is scheduled to be held during the shrine's spring memorial service next year. Taiwan's High Court on Tuesday sentenced a teenage boy to 12 years in prison for killing a junior high school student on Christmas Day 2023 and an accomplice girl to 11 years. A lawyer said the light sentences were heartbreaking and could weaken deterrence against future campus violence, as the victim's father angrily denounced the ruling in court. And in global news, the websites and apps of France's National Post Office and its banking service have been hit by a suspected cyber attack, disrupting deliveries and hampering online payments and transfers at the busiest time of the year. 3 days before Christmas, La Poste said on Monday that a distributed denial of service incident had rendered its online services inaccessible. Customer data was safe, but mail distribution, including parcels, had been slowed.
Customers wanting to send last-minute parcels or collect items from post offices were being turned away. The Postal Service sorts and delivers more than 2 million items in the immediate run-up to Christmas. The group's banking service, La Banque Postale, said the incident was affecting access to online banking and to the mobile app. Card payments at in-store point-of-sale terminals were still functioning, as were ATMs. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the suspected attack. The BPCE group, which includes Banque Populaire and Caisse d'Épargne, also experienced an IT malfunction on Monday morning, but it was resolved by midday.
President Donald Trump has announced that the U.S. will commission a new series of heavily armed Navy battleships named after himself as part of a revamped Golden Fleet. Construction on the Trump-class USS Defiant, which will be equipped to carry an array of weapons, is expected to begin soon, with the first vessels becoming operational in 2.5 years. The announcement is part of a larger planned expansion of the U.S. Navy under President Donald Trump, involving both larger missile-armed warships and smaller vessels.
We envision that these two ships, we're talking about 10, but we're going to start with 2, and we're going to quickly morph into 10. And ultimately, we think it's going to be anywhere from 20 to 25 of these.
Officials have warned that the U.S. currently lags behind China in both shipbuilding capacity and total output. Speaking at his Mar-a-Lago golf club in Florida on Monday, Trump said he had approved the construction of 2 new battleships to start, with a plan to build up to 25. Trump said, "They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built." Once completed, Trump said the armed vessels would be equipped to carry hypersonic and extremely lethal weapons, and would serve as the flagships of the U.S. Navy.
A passenger bus crash killed at least 16 people on Indonesia's main island of Java just after midnight on Monday. The bus, carrying 34 people, lost control on a toll road and struck a concrete barrier before rolling onto its side. The inner province bus was traveling from the capital, Jakarta, to the country's ancient royal city when it overturned while entering a curved exit ramp. The force of the impact threw several passengers from their seats and left others trapped inside the bus.
Police and rescue teams arrived about 40 minutes after the accident and recovered the bodies of 6 passengers who died at the scene. Another 10 people died on the way to the hospital or while receiving treatment. The 18 victims being treated at 2 nearby hospitals included 5 in critical condition and 13 in serious condition. The yellow bus overturned onto its side and was surrounded by National Search and Rescue Agency personnel, police, and passers-by as ambulances transported the injured and the dead away from the scene. The driver, a substitute, sustained serious injuries but was able to communicate while receiving medical care.
Chinese robotaxis could hit UK roads in 2026 as ride-sharing apps Uber and Lyft announced partnerships with Baidu to trial the technology. The two companies hope to obtain regulatory approval to test the autonomous vehicles in London. Baidu's Apollo Go driverless taxi service already operates in dozens of cities, mostly in China, and has logged millions of rides without a human behind the wheel. The news marks another vote of confidence in self-driving vehicles, though many remain skeptical about their safety.
Uber said in June it would bring its plans to trial UK driverless cars forward, as the government sought to accelerate a framework to allow pilots of small autonomous bus and taxi-like commercial services in 2026. Lyft said in August it would look to deploy driverless taxis in the UK and Germany as part of a European agreement with Baidu. It already operates autonomous rides in Atlanta, US, where Uber also runs a robotaxi service through its partnership with Waymo. Lyft chief executive David Risher said London passengers would be the first in the region to experience Baidu's Apollo Go vehicles. However, both firms still need to convince regulators.
A woman in her 70s has regained partial vision after receiving what may be the world's first implant of a 3D printed biological cornea in a pioneering surgery performed in Haifa. The cornea was bioprinted using human cells and implanted in a patient who had suffered from corneal blindness in one eye. Developed by Israeli biotech company Precise Bio, the implant represents a major breakthrough in regenerative medicine and could help address the global shortage of donor corneas.
More than 13 million people around the world are currently waiting for a corneal transplant due to a critical lack of donor tissue. The new technology allows for the creation of hundreds of implants from a single donor sample, offering a scalable solution. Ari Bat, co-founder and CEO of Precise Bio, said, "It's the first time an implant made entirely in a laboratory from human source cells has been successfully used in a human being. This is not only a scientific breakthrough, it's a historic moment." The printed cornea was produced through a process combining biological materials and human cells to replicate the structure and function of a natural cornea. The technology includes advanced quality control measures and offers improved predictability during surgery.
The answer for yesterday was B, cripple. The severe storm threatened to cripple the city's power and transportation systems. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into today's news. France's National Post Office hit by suspected cyber attack. Number 1, inaccessible, 无法到达的，难以接近的. The mountain peak is inaccessible during winter due to heavy snow. Number 2, terminal, 终端车站航站. Airport terminals are equipped with automated check-in kiosks. Number 3, hamper, 阻碍妨碍. Heavy traffic can hamper emergency response times. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. Christmas Eve began long ago, but not at the very start of Christianity. Early believers focused more on Jesus' death and resurrection than on his birth. That changed around the 4th century when church leaders in Rome chose December 25th to commemorate his arrival. By the year 300, people in Rome had begun gathering on the evening before Christmas for worship. And that's all for today's FUNDAY News. Be sure to tune in to FUNDAY News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join FUNDAY for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.